into The Crafted and Creative, a podcast meant to uplift and engage BIPOC creatives who are on their journey of making a social impact and creating a lasting legacy. Today's guest, we have Krys X, who is an educator and musical artist based in New York City. She is also a recent Brit community producer and has a musical and poetry variety show that you can check out every month online or in person. Her album Thanks is streaming everywhere you can get music. Thank you so much, Krys, for joining me today.
Of course.
So happy to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
And so I just wanted to get into just like your journey being an artist and being in New York City. I feel like so many people, and especially BIPOC creatives, can relate to your journey. So tell me a little bit about your journey as an artist and what made you get into music.
Okay, so how I got into music. I started writing music when I didn't really have an outlet to like channel like I guess things or like pain I was going through when I was growing up out here in Brooklyn. Just to be a little more specific, like I come from a Jamaican and Trinidadian background, but I grew up with a Jamaican mother, and I didn't for lack of a better phrase or term, like I didn't expect to be gay. So when it started to happen, I didn't know kind of like what to do, where to go. I knew I couldn't go to my family. I knew I couldn't go to anyone in church. I knew I couldn't go to anyone in school. And back then, like when I was, middle school, it's very different than right now in middle school. And so I just had no outlets. And I wasn't sure what to do. So I started to like write raps and poetry to like sort of get my thoughts out. It wasn't like I'm gonna be a rapper, but I always loved rap. I remember like even being like 4 years old, like the first memory of music is like Juicy by Biggie Smalls.
Yes.
So I've always loved rap, and I think it just sort of became ingrained in my system. And I was like one of the kids who like Common was their favorite rapper. Like kids weren't listening to fucking Common.
Oh, you were deep.
Yeah,
you was going down
I
deep.
love Common and Kanye were my favorite rappers when I was a kid. Like
Chicago.
Big Chicago. And
Yes.
that's like, not even necessarily Brooklyn rappers, even though I loved Biggie, even though 50 Cent's not from Brooklyn. I love 50. But yeah, Common and Kanye were some of my favorite folks. But I just liked how like poetic they were. And
was it something you did in school? Like, was that, did you do like any of the musical shows? Like, I don't know about y'all. Like when I was in school, they had us do like all the Christmas shows. We had to sing Michael Jackson songs every Christmas. We had to do the Temptations. Like, was that something that you were able to tap into in school, or it was just something you just did at home to get out, those feelings?
I think that something entertaining is something I've always done. In church, I was in the choir up until about age 12, from like 5 to 12 years old, or maybe like 13 or 14 actually. So from like 5 to 14, I was like heavily invested in church choir, like every Saturday going to practice, every Sunday performing. And then like we would have big plays and stuff, probably like once a year, just like a huge concert. We also had like a lot of like when I was after school, I did talent shows, but that was more like dancing. In school, I did plays and such. Any talent show I could be in, I probably was in it.
Yeah.
After school, in school, and then high school is when I really started to write.
Get into it.
Yeah, I started to write raps and stuff.
So you mentioned, coming from a Caribbean household and, coming out with your sexuality. Was this a struggle with your music, coming out being like, look, Mom, I want to pursue being an artist and being a musician? What was that journey like of like having those two very opposite things that, traditional families may not necessarily agree with? And I personally, I'm not Caribbean, but I have a lot of Caribbean friends, and a lot of them, they say that, oh, my parents always wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer or do, something different. How did you come to that?
That's a funny question, because that's something like no matter how old you get, like that's a thing that I'm kind of experiencing like right now. And to be quite honest, it's just certain things you can't really talk about with your parents, like, and just anybody who might not agree with how you want to live your life. So I didn't even necessarily know that I was going to do music when I was growing up. Like when I was in high school, the plan was to become a teacher. All of my raps were written in secret, and I always thought that I was eventually, like when I started to realize like, oh, okay, I can like kind of put rhymes together, I can put words together well. I just thought that I would maybe be a ghostwriter for men, because I'm like, there's absolutely no way it's going to be okay for a woman to say this. You know what I mean? So I didn't, like 8-10 years later, I didn't know the world was going to be like this.
Right.
So I literally thought I was going to be writing this for I have a twin brother. I thought I was going to be writing it for him because he used to rap. So that's, kind of where I was going with it. And then now, though, I think in 2020, I told my mother that I wanted to pursue like full-time artistry.
Really?
And she did not receive that very well. But at the time too, I don't think I wanted to be a full-time rapper. Like I'm very, very clear now that I want to just, like, I mostly want to pursue music and poetry. Like that is my art form. That's what I want to pursue. And I think when I had told her that, I was going in a lot of different directions. I wanted to, and I did. I wanted to pursue photography. I wanted to get a studio, and I opened one. I was pursuing music. I was pursuing poetry. I had a company called Gourmet Gummy, and I still do. And I'm just like, but when you're one person going in 6 different directions, it is really hard to make headway, or like significant headway.
Ooh, I feel that. For the multi-hyphenate girlies, how? Because I feel that, because it's like when you have so many things that you're passionate about and that you want to pursue, it's like, okay, it's like being a jack of all trades but a master of none. Yeah. And it's like, how do I fulfill that passion and dedicate to one thing when I love, a lot of things. So how did you just come to, doing music but still being open to other projects and being a full creative?
I'm realizing that like a lot of my time probably needs to be dedicated to one thing, as opposed to a lot of my time being dedicated to mad things. Like it's just not gonna work. And I've experienced it, and I think that's one of my favorite parts of being able to have lived the experience with pursuing passions. Like I know for sure you cannot do 6 things at the same time, because I tried to do 6 things at the same time by myself. And you can do mad stuff at the same time, but you need a lot of help. So if you're going to be doing it by yourself, you cannot be doing 6 things. Like it's just how?
It's just physically not possible.
And so I know by myself or with 1 or 2 people, I can literally write raps. I can literally record myself. One day I could probably pull up in here, set the cameras up, you know what I mean? Get the shot.
What you've done, she has a variety show, y'all.
That's not ideal. I love help, Shout out to Layla and Derek. I love help, but I don't like I cannot, some of these other things I can't do all by myself. And I even know that with rap and poetry, the more help I get, the further I can go. So I'm trying to solidify and focus the vision more to attract what the universe like has in store for me. You know what I mean? And what I know I have in store for myself. Like I know I'm talented, but I cannot be everywhere, because then when I'm trying to talk to people about what I do, how can they support me? What can they support me with? If I come to them and I dump a bunch of things on their desk, like, oh, that's too much. I don't, you know what I mean? So I want to be very, very focused.
So how do you go about finding that community? I watched your variety show, and you had like such a strong community. Like that was one of the things that stuck out to me. Like the you were great as a performer.
Thank
the
you.
talent that you had on there were phenomenal. But I just noticed the support in the community. Like how do you nurture that? And it's so hard, especially in this industry, especially as being a female rap artist. We see all the time that there's still this mentality of there can only be one. I think society still has a long way to go in terms of thinking about that we're all different, that there can be so many different versions of what an artist looks like, especially as women. And we see arguments all the time of like, oh, Nicki versus Cardi versus, oh, she's trying to be like Little Kim. She's trying to be, when it's like, no, what if that's authentically who she is, you know? So how do you nurture that community and like find that community that are other artists that don't mind donating their talent to you and to your show? And thank you for being on here, you know, because it's so hard for people to like really want to support each other when it's like, well, it's not mine, so I'm not gonna do it. You know, how do you navigate that?
So I think the best way I can describe it is like showing up for people, and then they want to show up for you too. And I think a lot of artists know what it's like to really pour your heart into something, and it's like one person there or nobody there. Oof. Nobody there. And that shit, you feel that shit. Oof. So knowing what that feels like, I don't want anybody to feel like that. And if I can show up for somebody, I want to show up for somebody.
You about to have me in here crying because I'm like, it's so hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard trying to make stuff.
Yeah, and I think that like I've seen the more you give of yourself, the more people want to give to you, and I've been learning that because sometimes we're so absorbed in life is hard. Sometimes we're so deep and absorbed in what we have going on that we find it really hard to give our time or attention or other things to other people. But if you could do it, you should do it, because the reward is like, it's unbelievable. Just to see all those people at my show, just to know that I had support. Like, I remember when I had shows before, ooh, when I was starting out in 2019, literally one person, nobody, like not my twin brother, definitely not my mom, not my friends, like nobody was trying to hear that. And my mom was at my show, fully like homophobic, fully seeing me in myself rapping about what's going on in my life, rapping about being gay, you know what I mean? Like, that is a big fucking deal. Yeah. Because me and her were not cool. Really? Me and her were not cool. Not good. Especially when I'm talking about I'm in high school. From high school up until like almost the end of college, me and her were not cool. Wow. And I think people are not really understand, like I wouldn't even go home. I would just stay in Albany where I went to school. I would just stay there. I'm not coming home. Really? I'm not going. What am I going home for? My mother can't even look me in my eye. She can't look me in the eye. I can't. And I don't want to take anything away from her. She's so hurt because she didn't expect this for her child. You know what I mean? But this is my life. I don't know what you want me to do. So I can't come home and you can't look me in the eye and I gotta pretend like just because we family, we love each other, I gotta sit there and suffer. And you know, your environment really shapes how you feel about yourself. So I can't let you beat me down. Fuck that. Especially when I'm already a part of a community of people who love me. I'm going over there every time. And getting stronger at myself helped me to be able to stand up to her and be like, listen, if this is not what you like, we're not going to fight about this. Let's just not talk about it ever. Like, you don't understand what this has done to me. Like, I've been depressed. You know, you remember when I had a GPA and it was a 1.9? You think I'm just out here slacking? I couldn't sleep because me and you don't have a good relationship. And she didn't understand that. You know, black moms, they don't always understand mental health. Right. Depression is such a strong word. Yeah,
what you got to be depressed about?
What you mean? You are only parent and you don't speak to me. That's what. You don't talk to me. You don't know how I'm doing up here. And I know you care, but you're not showing it, and I don't know how to navigate this. So
you had to cultivate that community on your own and like really, like you said, be strong in yourself. And you know, was it like a spiritual thing for you? I know we were talking earlier just about like spiritual connection, and you also mentioned it in your show as well. And like you have a song about it. I forgot the name of your song, but you do have a song about it that mentions spirituality and your connection to like the higher power and self-love. And like, is that something that you just had to find on your own? Was it like going to church? Like, how did you come to the side of like having a relationship with God?
I grew up in the church, which is another reason why it was kind of hard to, like, I guess, grapple with my own identity and my relationship with my mom. Like, all of that is kind of around like growing up as a Christian. I think when I got to college, not I think when I got to college, I don't know why I'm saying I think, but when I got to college, my relationship with Christianity, not God, but with Christianity kind of shifted. Because I'm like, you start to learn stuff and you're like, damn, like, did Christianity come to my community through slavery? I don't know if I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
I'm actually really uncomfortable. So, I kind of just started to, I guess, move away from Christianity, but still stay connected with God, if that makes sense. Like,
right.
I don't think all the Christians would be like, this is great, but that's my relationship with God. Like, I think that the actual religion, I still kind of feel weird about it. But I love, like, I'll still go to the church that I grew up in with my mom. Like, those people still love me, and I still love them. I still love my pastor. But, yeah, so I think that you could see real life interactions with God and with spirit that, like, help you realize, like, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
This is real. So I don't want to act like that's not real. Like, I've been saved so many times. I've been helped so many times. I've been blessed so many times that I just never want to forget
His presence.
that God has my back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like more so feeling the presence of God and knowing that he's there and you're having that relationship with him versus needing an actual physical space or actually needing to go into like a physical church and like, you know, doing certain organized religious things that, you know, they practice in church that you're like, okay, I don't know, especially the mentality when, like you say, you're seeing people practicing this religion, but yet are choosing to be homophobic.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, how do I connect to my sense of God and what God has done for me personally versus being in this space where it's like, wait, but I'm being judged, but yet we're supposed to be
not judging people.
Right, not judging people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of like going back to the music that has always offered you a safe space with becoming who you are as a person, what's your process for creating music? Like, is it just like a spiritual relationship where you're just like God just comes to you in a dream and you're able to write a song, or is it something that inspires you and then you begin to write?
I think it's real spiritual, actually. Like, and I feel like the more I tap into that frequency, the more like, we'll call it on surface level practice, but spiritually, like, the more I tap into that frequency, the more I'm able to hear words that just go together so well. And I'm able to, like, you know, write them down on paper. So one process I have is I'll just put on a beat and I'll just, like, literally let the words come out. And they just come out, and I'm like, damn, that's fire. Damn, that's
so that is spiritual. God is moving through.
So it's definitely not just me, because it's very, very, the way it's so quick like that. I'm like, it's not just me. I think I'm just a vessel, a channel. And I think also another process I do, like, sometimes I'll find a word and I'll write based off that word.
Wow.
Or ask somebody to give me a word. I'll write based off that word. So it could be a sound. It could be a situation that happened. I love writing about situations that really affect me emotionally. It's super easy to write things like that, especially, like, if I'm in my feelings about something. It's, like, easy to write something real quick about that.
To get it out.
Or a word or a sound, or you saw something cool outside, like birds, or even if you saw other people's, like, really, like, hard situation, you could create really dope poems or raps off of that. And yeah, even if you didn't see anything or you're not around something, maybe there is a situation going on in your life or in your family, and it's just easy to just, like, let it out that way.
To let it out. So, like you said, like, are there certain topics that draw you to writing, or, like you said, it just kind of comes to you, you know, depending on what you're going through, what other people are going through? Because I feel like now you have a lot of artists. Look, I love me, you know, some good twerking music. I love me, you know, I don't know.
Too.
I'm going to say it, you know, I love me some good pussy popping music.
Hey.
But, you know, it seems like the industry is so saturated by that. Do you find yourself having to juggle that of like, oh, I need to write something really deep because, you know, or is it just whatever comes to you?
I have like one pussy popping song out, and everything else is very, very like deep. And that's just because I'm a human, I'm a person, I'm black, I'm a woman. I like to dance, I like to throw it back time and time again, but also topics that really draw me in is like things that affect black folks, like racism, like gentrification, like the health of our communities. Those are things that I talk about a lot in my music, like love. Like I think that the men and women, I want us to like love each other more, not even on a romantic level. Like, see me, you see me, and don't like lessen my existence. Especially because of like what they're deeming acceptable media to come from black women, like you said, the pussy popping music,
right?
Like without having to say that this is a lot like a lot of the time the art that is the most popular, even though men I feel like get to have a lot more variety. But then when it's time to talk about like respect of each other, or to hold each other accountable, or to hold each other in love, it's like hoes and y'all nasty as fuck, y'all bitches, y'all. It's like, where is like it's like not enough humanity on both sides for each other. Then there's women who also look down on black men. So I just want us to like find more ways to really come together and love on each other. There's a lot less of it, but there's still a lot of homophobia in our community. It's usually among the older generation, but it's still existent. So I just, like I was telling you earlier, like I was talking to you about Solani people.
I think, was that Layla?
Yes, it was Layla.
Yeah.
I just want us to come together and stop finding so many differences to be mad about, to keep us separate from each other, because we have a lot of things up against us. A lot of things. Still.
In 2023, about to be 2024.
We really don't have the time, space to be fighting with each other. We really need to be coming together and like putting all the other bullshit aside. Like, so.
It's so true. I mean, I was just having this conversation the other day. I was talking to somebody about like, man, like it's really unfair that as black people, we're expected to play the same games of white counterparts that have had family wealth, that have had, you know, because I was thinking about like my college education, how expensive it was. And I'm like, I have to pay the same price for my education versus somebody whose family have gone to college, generations have gone to college, have businesses. But my mother was born in 1955. I have an older mother. What was happening in 1955? People were still fighting for equal rights.
Yeah.
You know, and my mother was born
that church bombing was in 1955.
And there you go. That the fact that I'm not that far removed, that we collectively are not that far removed. My grandmother was born in 1920 in a shack in Georgia. And here I am in 2023 expected to do all of the same things and not, y'all don't get me started, because
that's actually crazy to think about.
It's crazy to think we're really not that far removed. And so for you being an artist, being able to like want to create that sense of community and that sense of self-love, how do you do that also with food? I know we also talked about ideas about you being a vegan. You're also a vegan. I also want to hear about that journey of being, you know, loving your body and like what you put into it. What made you become a vegan?
I think that I think in my second year of teaching, and for years after college, I was just having a lot of like GI issues. And I would go to several types of doctors and everybody was like, you're fine. But I'm like, I'm not fine. Like something is wrong. And no one could figure it out. It's like when I ate, my chest hurt, or my stomach was hurting. It was always like really hard or bloated or both. And I go to the doctors and they're like, you're good, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm not. And so I don't come from a particularly like healthy family. So I'm like, this is something I'm going to have to learn to do on my own. And the doctors are not being helpful. So this is also, again, something I'm going to have to learn to do on my own. And I don't know, I just been like skeptical of the health industry.
Yeah.
When you say like you, one of the things that has made me skeptical about the health industry is like when you listen to commercials for medicine. Everything is like they speak really, really fast, but it's like you could get heart disease, you could get brain damage. Right. I'm like, wait, what the Wait, what?
Trying to treat you for an infection, but yet, temporary blindness. Oh, your stomach might fall out your ass. All this stuff that you're like, wait.
What? Like, nah, just forget it. Forget it. I'll keep this one thing to avoid the 7 other things you're about to give me.
Right.
And the dependency that you're about to create in my body. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, y'all really are in the labs creating random ass shit when before all these doctors existed. I'm not gonna like completely deny Western medicine, but I do know the first instinct is to go into a lab and not into nature. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like it's best to go into nature first, and then like you get assistance from labs if it's necessary.
Right.
Like first step nature. First step, how am I eating? What am I eating? A lot of the times we don't need to go to the doctor. A lot of the times, what can I eat? Am I drinking enough water? People don't even understand. You know what I mean? How impactful water is. So a lot of kids, I work with kids, like you like just getting headaches all the time, stomach aches all the time. Yeah, if you eating candy and chips and Takis and shit for breakfast, yes, your stomach is going to be bothering you. You be eating bacon, egg, and cheeses every day. Mm-hmm. Yes, your stomach is going to be hurting. A lot of the kids are obese. You eating bacon, egg, and cheeses and chips and candy every single day. Right. No, absolutely not. And then like when we look at the obesity, heart disease, cancer rates for lower income neighborhoods, like the ones I work in, like these conversations are not being had enough with the kids. And this is mostly often like what's available to eat in their neighborhoods as well. Mm-hmm. If this is what's in my store, why would I automatically assume that this is not good for me?
Right.
If this is what's available to me for purchase. Ooh, so
that's a drop right there. I do want to transition into, so what's next for you?
What's next for me? I'm going to say it, Christina. Say it.
Say it.
Say it.
Say it. Say it.
I'm going to transition like full time into being an artist. And the reason why that's so crazy to say is because, like I said, I have a job. I work with kids. And I'm not going to say the full job on here. Mm-hmm. But I'm ready to transition out of that job. And I don't necessarily have anything set up. That's another big scary part about it. And because I don't need anything set up because I'm the next setup.
Woo.
I'm the next setup. So I'm focusing on that.
Yes. And where can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube, on all DSPs.
The handles? Social handles?
Sorry, my Instagram and my YouTube is Krys.Carats, like the gold, like the diamonds. So KRYS.KARATS. Krys Carats.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to this episode of Crafted and Creative. Please subscribe and give us a rating on iTunes, and I will see you all in the next episode.